They'll turn you to a finger, you better be careful.
Diana guide. She's OP. As many of you may know, this was supposed to be a Graves jungle guide, but considering the fact that Diana is the most OP champion I have ever seen in my entire life, I thought I really just needed to make a Diana jungle guide. I'll get to the Graves one later, do not worry. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into the guide immediately, and go ahead and say that Diana, she does not have the best early game, but by far not the worst. Between the levels of 1 and 5, she can be dangerous. A lot of people think you have to have your ultimate to even gank or do anything remotely helpful for your team, but honestly, there are so many times where I'll hit level 3 after getting my Krugs, red then blue, go top, and any jungler can gank someone, if they have bad positioning. And you can really, really punish that as Diana, especially with her slow ability and the fact that she actually has a lot of damage, even at the early levels. My rune page for Diana is Ability Power Quints, Ability Power Blues, Armor Yellows, and Magic Penetration Reds. My masteries, I go 12, 18, 0. I find that Thunderlords is the best option for Diana, especially because once you get those 3 autos off, it's a big burst of damage, which helps her, especially in her early game. Whether you're starting on red or blue side, you want to make sure that you level up your W first. This is because it gives you a shield, and it does about the same damage as your Q, and as well has an area of effect damage. Once you've taken your either Gromp or Krugs, go to your red buff. In this case, if you're on red side, you'd take your blue buff, and make sure that you're making use of your passive. Your passive is that Diana, after every 3 auto attacks, or on every 3rd auto attack, does AoE damage with her autos, and it does have more damage. This way, make sure that you're clearing the smaller minions with, the buff itself. That way you're making as much damage as possible with your kit. After taking your buff, you're going to want to go to your next buff, either blue or red, depending on your side. It's a lot nicer if you are on red side, because you can get that blue first and then smite your red buff when you get to it. But this works just as well. And personally, I like to take E level 3, because if I don't have the Krug passive, like I will have in this video, it just makes taking Scuttle Crab a lot easier. Or if I see the opportunity to get a gank off top lane or mid lane or just counter jungle, it allows me to stick to the enemy jungler a little easier, just because, they're slowed now, and I can keep applying my red buff slow. So all in all, I really like taking E level 3. And here you can see, even though I'm Diana, I still am going into counter jungle. A lot of people think, Diana isn't a strong jungler, but I see that Warwick, right? It's a Warwick. He's also not as strong until level 6, right? That's the misconception people have, So I go in, I try to counter jungle, get what I can. I see Warwick here. There I apply the slow with my E and my red buff, and I'm not going to chase to get that kill, I force his flash. Now I get a free red buff. That's a huge win for me. So a lot of the times you can really surprise the enemy jungler. If you know that you can win, that 1v1, go for it. Because unless your team really is letting you down and the other team has really good vision, you'll for sure either get a buff or a kill or a flash. All those things are definitely worth it. And as you can see, I get a really, really good opportunity to kill this Teemo up here. I love killing Teemo. I hate Teemo. He flashed really early. Bad on his part. He maybe could have survived. I probably would have just flashed on him as well, but he could have gotten my flash for flash rather than, my E ability, right? So that's kind of the power of Diana in the early game. If that doesn't work, it's not like you lose. I got an assist. There we go. That's really good for me. I can get my jungle item. I can start, getting towards that runic echoes. But in general, she can be strong in the early game. So that's what I really want to implement into your all's brains, is that don't just farm until 6. Because if you do that, you might lose out on a counter gank opportunity or a counter jungling opportunity where you can really set yourself ahead like I did in this game. Now we've gotten to the part of the video where people think Diana becomes useful. And, it's true. This is where she does shine, using her ultimate. And a lot of people are like, oh, you gotta hit your Q. Nope, you could just flash on top of them in RW and they will just die. Easy peasy, It's not too difficult. But sometimes you do have to hit your Q if you want the reset. But other times, you got to know when you can and can't afford to use your flash R. If you have enough damage, you can sometimes just one-shot somebody by pressing RW. And a funny thing about Diana is that no one really ever thinks about, hitting their Q as damage. They always think of it as a reset. But when you ult to them, you are you right in front of them. The Q is so easy to hit, and it does a lot of damage. So rather than trying to, hit your Q and maybe they dodge it, maybe they don't, just go ahead and ult onto them and then hit your Q. If they're low enough and you can kill them with that combo, go for it. If not, be conservative, try to hit the Q. But other than that, you just gotta really, you gotta play her to kind of find her play style and see what is the best option in the situation you're in. Now, once you've gotten your Runic Echo's jungle item, you begin to do an insane amount of damage. As you can see here, I'm trying to go for this blue buff steal, but unfortunately they do have it warded. But that doesn't matter, because I have Runic Echoes, I'm Diana, I can hit my skill shots, and, well, he's just gonna die. And, maybe I should have died here, maybe I shouldn't have. But, good save by the Zed. That just shows how strong Diana can be. Like, I killed him with, my spells. Like, rotation of my spells and my blue smite. I always like to go blue smite on Diana. I feel like it's just a good execution, or another slow, if they somehow flash your E. It's just a good way to make sure you can stick to your target. I really like it. And what I do like to build after Runic Echoes is Lichbane. My usual build as Diana is Runic Echoes, Lichbane, Zanya's, Sork Shoes, Abyssal Scepter, and if it gets to this point in the game, maybe a Void Staff or a Proto Belt, depending on how much magic resist they actually do have. I know a lot of people like to go Proto Belt second, but, being a Diana player as I am, I've tried both ways, and I just really like the Lichbane. I like the, constant one-shot ability rather than, hopping and then ulting onto them, certain things like that. I just think in general, the Lichbane is just a consistent provider of damage, whereas Proto Belt, it's got the cooldown. That's kind of the way I see it. But, you can fiddle around with the builds. It's not like one build is amazing on her and others are awful. But in my experience, this is just what I've seen to be the most unstoppable. One of my favorite things about Diana is her build paths. Not only does she get a lot of different power spikes throughout the game, but everything she, buys seems to be, around the same price. You get a whole jungle clear and then you get Sheen, you get a whole jungle clear and then you can get your Sork Shoes and you can get your Blasting Wand. Just seems like everything's pretty inexpensive, all the components that make her strong. As you'll see in this clip right here, she just has the ability to just kill everyone. That's insane, right? Look at that damage. And then your passive auto attacks just do so much. Every 3 autos, as long as they're slowed, you can just keep pounding on them. I just don't see, the downsides. The only possible downsides to Diana is really, really strong early game junglers, or super tanks that can sustain all of her damage and eventually whittle her down. But, even then, you can win those games as Diana. There's just so much potential for this champion, and I love it. she's just amazing. There's so many cool things you can do, so many trick plays you can, you could Q ult to a teammate or to an enemy team player, and then ult to one of their teammates. It's just the amazing things you could do with this champion. Now, I will say, if you are looking to climb, maybe you and your friend, you should definitely play Diana, and if you can get the Yasuo in there. It is insane, this combo. Diana Yasuo, it's probably the best, combo I've actually seen uh ever since like my Mundo Ziggs days. Like it's just amazing. You can just ult in, right? You point and click onto their team, and then you press E, and as long as you're communicating with your Yasuo and be like spam your ult, you'll knock them all up, and then they'll all be caught in his ult because they're all right there, So there's no possibility for him to miss. And the best part is that since they're all knocked up in his ult, all you have to do is just WQ, and you can WQ throughout all of them, and you get all that splash damage, your third auto attack damage, you get it all. And it is Craigasm. Whenever you hit this combo, even the other team will just be amazed, and it's so fun to pull off too. Oh my! I can't tell you how many times I just flash Alt E their ADC in the at the in-game team fight, and Yasuo presses R and they just die. There's no counterplay. You just have to stay an insanely far away amount of space. Like that didn't even make sense what I just said, but you understand the gist of it. It's crazy. It's just like, oh, look at that. Look at that. I just went around the entire map and just killed like 4 people. Like. This champion, man. This champion, it's so fun, so rewarding, and not that hard to really pick up on. The best part about getting Zhonya's on Diana is, you can jump in, do as much damage as possible, and then just Zhonya's. In this case, I just got them all on top of me. You got the Zed ult on me, I got the Warwick ult on me, and I could just Zhonya's, and right out of the Zhonya's, come out and one-shot the Teemo. That's, there's her kit just allows for so many different things, especially when you take the Zhonya's. As I wrap up this guide, I just want to really explain the importance of not going on tilt. This is something I could talk about in every single guide, but really it's very evident when playing certain champions like Diana that you may not get that first gank, kill, or assist. You may get counter ganked. You may die. You and your team have to understand that the game is not decided by the first 10 minutes. Like, you'll often see somebody feed first blood, and, it's like, oh, GG, or, oh, you stupid, why would you go there? But honestly, the game is there's so much more that can happen, and it doesn't make sense to me why people flame or as toxic as they are, because after the person dies 2 or 3 times, if you're not berating them for doing a bad job, there's a high chance that they're probably still gonna try and bring the game back. And while you're yelling at them, you're not focusing on your own gameplay. If I was yelling at every champion on my team that was playing horribly, I would never win a game, because I wouldn't be farming as well as I could be. I wouldn't be, being in the right opportunities to gank or counter gank, or, seeing where the other team is, seeing how we can out-rotate them. None of that would happen because I'm too focused on getting mad at them. No, that's an awful way to think of things, and in the end, that's what elo hell is. That's where people are stuck and trying to get out of, because they have these awful mindsets of how the game should be played. You see a professional game and you see them down 10 kills, right? But they're up 4k gold, and anything can be solved by just sitting back and outplaying the other team. There are numerous games where I've played and I've been, what was it? I was like 15-3 as Diana jungle, but we were losing, 20 kills to 15. Some those kind of games, And I found their ADC in the team fight, killed their ADC, and was able to kill the rest of their team just by certain movements and outplaying and outrotating and getting turrets and structures and getting my team gold and saying, all right, let's get these dragons. Dragons are super important. Let's get those. So, kind of rambled on here at the very end, but I just want you all to understand the importance of not tilting, the importance of just playing the game. Like if there was no chat, it'd probably be better for most people because they would not be able to yell at their team and they would focus on their own play. And even if you are gonna lose the game, or even if there's a high chance of it, the other team is probably just as bad as you are. They can easily throw, and even if it's so one-sided, still just focus on trying to get yourself better because you may not be able to carry that game, but in a few games, once you're better than you previously were, if you focus on that, you will be able to carry. But anyway, that's it for me. I hope you all got something out of this guide. I know a lot of it was talking. Some of my other guides are more straightforward about exactly how to play the champion, but Diana herself is pretty straightforward. But going through the first early games stages, those are the hard parts I really wanted to focus on. But after that, you can really understand the champion and figure out your own kind of play style with her. Do you like to engage, or do you like to just play a little safe or wait till your team goes in, or do you want to be that guy who jumps in? And Zanya's right here at the end. I'm like, I can 1v5. I got this. I one-shot her, and then immediately it's gone. Warwick, the counter. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. And remember, don't tilt. By the way, I didn't just throw. They ended up surrendering, so don't worry about that. I swear to God, I wouldn't do that unless I felt confident in the win. So, yeah. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.